our third session. Welcome to the third session of strategic direction and planning. And I guess we have one more to go. And hopefully we can take our strategic direction and planning a step further today into module 3. But before we do that, I'm just going to quickly review where we left off last time. And just to recap, we were looking at leadership tools that can actually add value to our strategic direction setting. So when we are doing strategic direction, we already established that this is a very high level of strategy, which means that, high level, which means it involves the top leaders in the organization. So basically the top leaders in the organization will have to be involved, which means there are leadership tools that are specifically used for strategic direction and setting. I'm not going to list them. Does anybody remember what the 3 tools were, apart from what you see on my screen? The first one is already on the screen, right? Envisioning the future, which means setting the vision, which is timeless. So the vision is timeless. Remember, it has no time limit. And of course, it's a very futuristic thing. It is based on who or what you want to do, but mostly who you want to be. And it's really the why, the purpose of your organization. Why do you exist, right? You exist for a reason, for a purpose. That purpose is really the future vision, right? And everything has to go towards establishing or achieving that vision. What was the second or third tool? Does anyone remember the other tool? So we have set the vision, and then
I think
we're talking about
align it. Align.
Wait. Yes, but if vision is the first thing, and then strategic direction setting. So we're talking about developing what? What is this course trying to develop? If it's called strategic direction setting, what am I trying to set? What am I trying to create?
A direction.
Which is a
strategic plan.
Strategy. Let's not go to planning. Direction is higher level than planning. Okay. So the first thing we do is set the vision. The second tool is the strategy tool. So we need a vision, setting the vision. Second is strategy. And this picture is always my favorite to capture strategy. We start from the end, right? We start from the vision and we work our way backwards into the present of where we are, where we want to be. And the strategy is every step from where we are that will take us to the vision. Okay, so strategy always starts from the end, from the vision, and work your way backwards to today so you can have your strategy, your steps, your plans, your goals, so the strategy connects the destination, which is the vision, with your current reality. And it applies to the entire company. That's why it's also direction setting. And basically, you have to answer these 2 questions when you set strategy. How will I reach my vision? And you have to consider the current market conditions, competitive scenario, and the regulations of the environment around you. So this is the second tool of leadership, which is strategy. Strategy is narrower than the vision, right? But it's broad enough to guide you on a large company scale. Now, what is more specific than strategy? And I remember using the football, the soccer analogy, because for me, tactics, fantastic. I'm glad that it's a female who remembered that. I was feeling guilty that my example for strategy and tactic is always sports, because I think sports allows for a strategy and tactic in real time. You are watching it and you see how participants engage, but it's the same in reality. You have your strategy in your company, and then when you are interacting with your clients or when you are dealing with your employees, you may develop little tactics that can change on the spot in real time and not necessarily break the strategy. So strategy is a bit smaller than vision, and tactic is smaller than strategy, or it works on a smaller scale. So when we talk about tactics, tactics are very limited in scope. They do not necessarily have to cover the whole organization. They may be related to one small part of the company, whereas strategy is about the entire company, right? So maybe you have a strategy for the whole company, but then the marketing people require, or the marketing people decide to use specific tactics to be able to deliver their strategy. Product development might have separate tactics, and so on and so forth. So it's shorter term than strategy also. It's more short term. It could be something you do, like those promotions that companies do. Every month they have a different promotion. That's a tactic, right? It's still achieving the bigger strategy, but it's a small tactic for a short period of time, and then we keep changing it. And again, when you execute, you are using your existing capabilities and your existing resources. It's based on what you already have. You cannot have a tactic, propose a tactic, if you don't have the resources for it. And the last one, you work within the organizational structure also. You cannot change the organizational structure, if that makes sense. Yeah. Unlike strategy, when you change your strategy, you can change your structure. For example, when sometimes your company rearranges the organizational structure, whenever there is something like that, the vision doesn't necessarily change, but they change their strategy. But with tactics, you cannot change the organizational structure. You have to follow the structure that's there. You have to follow what's there and just change on a small scale. So this was where we left. You went into your Zoom rooms and you came up with at least one example of a strategy that you will use for your imaginary company. And you also proposed one or two tactics. Now, given the short period of time, you only did one of each. And from my feedback, I was trying to guide you into narrowing your tactics. Your tactics have to be very, very narrow, right? And specific. Some of you, your tactics were a little bit more broad. They sounded more like a strategy or an objective. So when we go back into the Zoom rooms today, try to refine, okay? Refine your strategy and tactics. So what we're looking at today is business strategy and decision making. So we will discuss what business strategy is. We will discuss the different levels of strategy and how each one of them functions, how it works. And then we will understand how strategy is created. So what is a business strategy? Before we read all this stuff, when you think business strategy, what do you think of? Whatever comes to your mind. When you hear the word business strategy, what do you think of? What comes to your mind as a person, as an employee, as someone who is mature enough to work in an organization? What do you think of?
The strategy will give us the big picture for our objectives in order to achieve something, which is the vision or mission of the organization.
Okay, the key word here is objectives. Okay, so you think about what plan will exist, or what, basically, let's just say actions. Okay, what action or decisions that I will take in order to achieve a specific objective. Very good, you could say that. But also, it is your plan that will help you, that will help your management team to secure their own position in the market, their competitive position. So first, yes, it's a set of actions or decisions that will help any business person achieve their business goals and objectives. That's the first thing. Second of all, it's the master plan, the big plan, where the leaders and the managers can use it in order to ensure and confirm that you as a business are still competitive in the market. Where is my position in the market? Where do I position myself? And based on that, you can carry out your operations, you can please your customers, and you can achieve the desired goals that you mentioned. Okay, so you can see how strategy is not only limited to the actions that we take, or the business strategy is not only limited to the action that we take and the decisions that we make, but also how it helps us position ourselves in the market. It will guide our operations and how we reach our customer satisfaction levels. All these aligned with the ultimate goal of the organization. Okay, and again, it's a long range, it's still long term. It's not a short term, right? Strategy in general, we agreed, is long term. It's a long range sketch of your desired, or the image and the direction that you want to build for your company and your destination for the organization. So this is what a business strategy is. Again, in short, if we were to summarize it, it is a set of competitive moves, actions that we take to stay competitive, to have a position in the market for 4 reasons: to attract our customers, to compete successfully. By the way, a business strategy, a business cannot succeed if it's not competitive in its market. So you want to attract customers, you want to compete, and you want your performance. And what is performance based at? Your performance is based on you attracting customers, right? So strengthen your performance, and all these, by achieving all these 3, you will actually achieve your organizational goals, right? So what you said, whoever gave me the answer of what you think business strategy is pretty much accurate, except think about the customers, think about the marketing, the competitive edge. All that comes into business strategy. So business strategy has a specific set of functions. By function, we mean, what is the role? What does it do? Why do we need it? Okay, if something has a function, it means it plays a role, it contributes to something. So I'm going to give you the first one, and I want you to think with me, and let's brainstorm together so that I'm not just doing all the talking. So what are some of the functions or the role that business strategy can play? Now we know what it means. What role can it play? The first one is it can help us achieve effectiveness, right? So if you have a strategy, a business strategy, you can be more effective in the market, at least. What's another thing that will come to your mind?
Lay the foundation of a operational plan.
Okay, laying foundations for an operational plan. Anyone else? Let's see what you have. Let me hear you first. Anyone? Laying foundations for operational plan. What else?
Clear roadmap.
Okay, a clear roadmap, which actually that's what the strategy is, because why do I need a clear roadmap? To achieve my goals, to secure my advantage, or my marketing advantage, my position in the market, which is this. So you now have to tell me, when I say the function, it means the effect of having, not the meaning of business strategy, but what is the result of having one? What function does it serve? I'm going
Clear
to keep
performance indicators.
It will help you with your KPIs. Okay. Perceiving and using opportunities. So I'm taking one from you, one from me. Okay. So perceiving and utilizing opportunities. Also, when we have a business strategy, by setting a business strategy, remember the SWOT? Remember the SWOT, right? SWOT is the first step in strategy. Doing the tools, the PESTLE, and then putting them in the SWOT, that is the start of a strategy. So by having a business strategy, we also will be able to know in advance and explore and use the opportunities that exist. We can also mobilize our resources. It will help us use our resources in the right direction, because we have a strategy. We know where to use our resources instead of just spreading your resources everywhere. When you have a business strategy, you will know where to put this, where to put your, where to invest your tech support, where to invest your creative team, where to invest your money, right? So all this is made easier by having a business strategy. Meeting business challenges and threats. Of course, if we talked about opportunities, we are also addressing challenges and threats.
The stakeholders.
Absolutely. We're going to probably get to that at some point. Directing individual efforts, just like I just said right now. When I say mobilizing my resources, right? If I have a business strategy, I can mobilize my resources in a more specific way. How? By directing individual efforts and behaviors towards organizational success. If I know what my organization wants to achieve and I have a strategy for it, I will use the people and their time and their energy in an effective, efficient way, of course. So, and I will align their roles with the organizational success. Excellent. Gaining command over unexpected situations. This is one of the key reasons we have, other than achieving our goals, really. The key reasons for business strategy is being able to have a bit of control over the unpredictable, the things that come at us and we don't expect them. By studying something, by building a strategy beforehand, by doing the SWOT part of it, right? We may not be able to anticipate the exact unexpected situation. I mean, who expected COVID? Not that many people, right? But any company that had already done an analysis of possible threats in advance was able to immediately shift. Whereas companies that had never built a strategy, that had never thought about any risk, would have found it very difficult. So just the pure idea of anticipating what could go wrong, even if I don't expect the exact things, it means I am ready to minimize the impact of what could go wrong. So basically, these were the concepts that we are thinking about. So a business strategy function, as you can see, this is the model here. This is just a quick summary of everything I just put in terms of function. It helps us to discover, right? Discover the market, analyze what's going on, check what's happening around us, right? And notice there are three things it's looking at: the structure, frameworks, and governance. What do we mean by governance? What does governance stand for? Anyone? Governance is really rules and regulations and monitoring and structuring. So usually under governance comes rules. For example, today with AI taking over the whole world, the first thing a university starts doing is set rules, because they need to govern this new crazy thing that's sweeping the academic world. Young people have access to AI 24/7, right? So universities would start putting rules about how it's going to be used. That's governance. Even governments today are involved on a global scale on putting governance and rules. How are we going to protect people's privacy, for example, right? So the use of AI is great, it's fantastic, but it's actually jeopardizing and risking private personal information. How are we balancing this? That's governance. Okay, so basically it will allow us to discover, it will allow us to analyze what's going on, take advantage of it, which is what exploit means. When we find an opportunity, we take advantage of it. And then, of course, predict the threats and use our resources. And remember how when we talked about the SWOT, how I said to you, your strength is a key. The internal and the external factors, right? They are your key. Your strengths and weaknesses are what you already have inside. Your opportunities and your threats are from outside. In order to reduce the threat and maximize the opportunity, we need to use our strength. Whatever we have that is strong has to come in so we can counterbalance the weakness. So it's really, as you can see, business strategy takes us back to the first lesson, which was the tools for strategy. And now you can see how things are connecting with each other. Even the function of strategy goes back to the SWOT today. And now we have gone lower to a lower level. We have gone back down into the business strategy. But you can see how the SWOT starts at the top, but it keeps continuing into the cascaded all the way down into everything you do. What are the characteristics of a business strategy? I'm going to let you kind of quickly go through this. Business strategy is the firm's working plan. That's what you guys were saying. It's a plan. Yes, it's a plan, and it's a working plan. So it's not only a much higher level of planning, but now it's a working plan. It's a plan about how we are going to implement. So what do we need to achieve from this business strategy? We want to achieve our vision. We want to prioritize our objectives. Like you said, I think it was Miriam, I'm not sure. Competing successfully. Yeah, we want to be able to compete, and we want to maximize our performance. When we talk about maximizing performance, we're talking about profit, right? Profit. I need to have a business model that will bring me money in. If I don't get money, when someone said KPI, right? You said KPI. What is my key KPI as a business? As a business, my key KPI is my revenue. Okay, your customer satisfaction and all these other services. But if they are all great and you are not getting revenue and you're not getting money, all your KPIs are out of the window. So the bottom line of any business is profit. Now, what is it that makes your company profitable other than your products and your services is really your business model also. In today's world, people and companies spend a lot of time on a building an effective and strong business model, because your business model is literally what the business model means is how, from the moment your product, how is your product going to reach your client, and how is your client going to pay you? That cycle of the product leaving your company to the client or the customer and the payment coming back is your business model. And there are many different, every company has a different way of doing this, completely different business models. If it's an online platform, it's different. If it's a delivery platform, it's different. If it's a product that you have to deliver, your business model will be different. If it's something you buy online, it's different. If it's something where you have to go face to face, it's different, right? So your business model is also a key part of your business strategy. How am I going to make profit? How is my product going to reach my client? So right now, we have talked about your products. We have talked about when I put you in the Zoom room, right? You've developed, you know what you want to offer. You know pretty much generally what your vision statement is. You know one particular strategy and one particular tactic that you have. You still don't really have a business model, right? Of how now are you going to be connecting directly with the client. So see how we are going from the higher level, and now we are slowly moving closer to starting to think about the customer and how we engage with the customer. One important thing for me right now before we start applying is business strategy is a combination of both proactive actions and reactive actions, okay? So basically, proactive actions from the management is very important. When we talk about proactive and reactive, can anyone just explain what we mean by these two?
Proactive, before it happens, I should take my preventive actions.
Yes, and reactive?
Reactive, this based on the failure or the event I'm having, I will accordingly react.
Okay, so whenever I face a problem, I try to react, right? Now, which one of these do you think is most important? or is actually a better way of building strategy. And by the way, companies that have a business strategy have proactive measures. Companies who don't have a business strategy usually function 100% on reactions. What do you think is a much more effective way of working?
Proactive, Doctor.
Proactive, right? Because even when you are proactive, you will still be reacting. صح? Because you cannot actually predict all the possible problems. Again, remember when I said companies that had planned and had done a bit of risk management in advance before COVID were able to shift online very quickly because they had anticipated the need for an online platform before there was an actual need for it. There were other companies that did not even think about it at all, and then they had to react. So pivoting and changing direction is faster when you already have a plan. Even if the risk assessment is not what happened in reality, but you are prepared for risk assessment. You have thought about different ways of doing things, right? But if you've never thought about it, all you are doing is reacting. And by the way, that's what most small startup companies do. What startup companies do is they just react. Most of the times, and even big companies at some point, all they do is try to solve problems. They wait for a problem to happen, and we try to deal with it as it happens. I personally do not like that way of working. It's actually the enemy of strategy. And salespeople in general, people who sell, usually act like that because they are assessed by how much they sell. To them, selling is all they care about. What happens after selling, they really don't care about, right? People who create products usually are more concerned about planning. People who deal with customer complaints are more concerned about being proactive. But people who generally sell just don't see that. And that's where in organizations you normally have a clash between the person who's selling and the person who's dealing with customer feedback. And this is where I think most companies either fail or succeed based on how they act. You cannot be purely proactive, but you cannot also be purely reactive. And reactive without proactive is you constantly just what we call in English putting out fires. Imagine times at work where you find yourself doing nothing but solving problems that no one had thought about before. Can you imagine those days? We've all had them. We've all had times at work where you feel like all you are doing is solving random problems that no one has thought about before. And you are drained, you are exhausted because all you're doing is putting out fires. You're not even thinking, you don't have a plan. You're just solving issues as they come. And that is really the enemy of strategy, by the way, being reactive. And unfortunately, most businesses work on the reaction. They just react. Something happens, we solve the problem later. You come and tell them beforehand, oh, I think this is going to be a problem. If we implement this, we make this decision, what is the implication later? This is going to cause a problem. Oh, they don't want to hear it. We will deal with it when it happens. That's the enemy of strategy. So please, if you are at work and you ever make decisions on no matter how small the decision is, always anticipate the impact of your decisions in all dimensions, in all directions. If you are in the sales department, this decision, how will it affect the other departments? If you are in the product development, again, the same. If you are in customer service, again, whatever decisions you make or whenever you solve your own problem, think about the whole organization and who is going to be impacted by it. Consult with others, because sometimes you think you've solved your own department problem, but you are creating one for someone else. And please don't tell me you don't experience this at work. Share something with me, please. I don't know the names of the companies, so you don't have to worry.
thank you for this point, but can you help how to move from being active to proactive in business?
From being reactive, strategy, strategy, and strategy, and not only strategy, but remember, when we are creating our vision and we are prioritizing our objectives and we are doing a risk assessment, you will see actually in our last session next week, what we do is we do scenario planning. Okay? Scenario planning is where we start anticipating what could happen, what could be if there is a negative. We look at all the drivers, external drivers that might create a need for change, and then we start studying all the different impact of this change before we implement the change. So there are many different strategies, but I think in this course we only cover two models for
Wow.
handling this, for handling the unexpected. Don't worry, we will get to it. But
Doctor-
basically, that's what strategy is. Yes, please.
Doctor, can I add one more point for Khalid?
Sure.
Most of the time, and maybe you highlighted this previously, Doctor, that the threats, we are always taking them to the risk matrix that we will have to have a risk assessment and mitigation plan accordingly. And sometimes it can lead to crisis management plan also. So mostly if we will study these threats properly and identify all the scenarios, we can be proactive.
Absolutely. Remember SWOT. SWOT is the first step in building strategy. So the solution to minimize reaction and increase proactiveness is to have a strategy. And a lot of companies, even if they have a strategy, they don't engage the teams and at the lower level in them. They should be cascaded and filtered down all the way. And every department needs to have its own strategies based on the organizational strategy. So again, we will move to the different levels. Khalid, we will get back to this in more detail, but thank you so much for sharing what you just said now. Your SWOT and your threat analysis is one way of doing the mitigation of risk, but thanks, Hiba. But when we go to the last section, which is scenario planning is one of the ways that we anticipate the future and we start looking at if I'm going to take a decision that is going to be something new in my organization, if I want to introduce a new concept or a new thing, I need to take into consideration all the different drivers which are external, what could happen in the future. So if you don't have a team that is engaging in future scenarios and future foresight, we call it, and let's not go too far. The UAE in particular is one of the few countries in the world that actually evaluates future foresight in the government entities when they do something called the Excellence Award. I don't know if anyone, you work with DEWA, someone works with DEWA here,
Yes, me.
right? Okay, DEWA is government, it's not
Yes.
semi-government.
Yes.
All government entities in the UAE have to participate in Excellence Awards. They do the same here in Qatar, but I'm more familiar with the one in the UAE because I have been part of it. It's a must, it's compulsory to actually engage in the Excellence Award. You have to, as a government entity, participate. One of the things they evaluate is your innovation activities. And with your innovation, there is a real section called Future Foresight. So how do you do future foresight? How do you study? How do you prepare for the future? How do you plan? It's all scenario planning. That's what future foresight is. However, that's how you minimize this reactive madness that takes place. Companies that are constantly just putting out fires are not actually working with a plan. They're literally short term. The problem with reactive behaviors is the short term value. Value is short term, right? Okay, this is popular today. Let's start selling this product because today it's popular. Next week, oh, this is more popular, this is popular, there is no planning, these companies do not last. They disappear very quickly because there is no long-term planning, right? They are just living with the moment, and every now and then you notice they are selling something else completely different. This is not sustainable. A proper organization needs to have a strategy, and part of the strategy, Khalid, is to actually study the SWOT, which is the threats, as your colleague mentioned, but also remember the PESTLE. What are the external factors that might come? And then how we mitigate is what we will do next week with scenario planning. Okay, I might actually end up touching touching upon scenario planning today. It depends on how we go, but it's usually in day 4 from what I recall, and you will see exactly the steps to take in order to, when you identify a threat or a possible threat, or we usually go for more than one, we check all the possible, and then we take each one of them and we create different scenarios and a different path for it with different solutions that we think we will solve it this way. We think we will solve it that way. So when it happens, you have already done a bit of thinking about it. And if people in your organization are behaving randomly without awareness of how their actions link to the strategy and link to the vision, then you are working what we call in English, this expression, we work in vacuum. You're just working in vacuum. You have no direction. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of companies like that. But in terms of future foresight, I think the UAE really is very much advanced. That's why a lot of the innovation that takes place, especially the smart government, the way they work with the smart government, it's very futuristic. They always anticipate what's coming, and they do a lot of scenario planning. So basically what we're talking about here when we say business strategy has 3 levels, okay? The corporate is right at the top, which is the long term. And now this long term, okay, needs to be cascaded a little bit lower. I was just saying that. To whom? To the business units. There are many different departments in your company. So the vision on the top from the corporate level has to be translated and cascaded through the vision and the mission and the strategies to the managers of each different unit or different level of the business, right? Each department that you have, the middle management. And this middle management needs to also go down to the operational level. Remember, we said business strategy guides the operations? It does. It helps the operations. But if it's here, if it sits at the top in the corporate strategy and it never gets filtered down, how exactly are you guys going to be aligned? So we go back to alignment. Everything in strategy has to be aligned with real life, everyday action. Unfortunately, very few organizations cascade this all the way down. And when I say cascade, I don't mean take this 50-page document that's written in language that your lowest level employee cannot understand. No, cascade it for them in the way that makes sense to what they do every day. So if you're in charge of a business unit, it comes to you from the top in big language. Turn it, this is where actually they start turning them into KPIs, by the way, right? Here in the business unit, they will start turning them maybe into objectives, right? And then when it gets down to operations, because there's actions involved, then it will turn into key performance indicators. So it's now actionable, measurable, achievable, right? So the language of the strategy in the corporate level, by the time it gets to the business level, by the time it gets to the operational level, the language, they are still aligned, but the language becomes simpler, easier for that level of employee to understand. And this is what, unfortunately, companies don't communicate very well, so that your employee on the operational level understands how he connects with all the different aspects of the organization. So on the operational level, we're looking at decision makings in HR and marketing and production, and these are set usually by your line manager. So we've gone down to the level of operation. Okay, so this is really what the 3 levels we are looking at are. Let's just give you a small LinkedIn, sorry, a little bit of a case study. You all know LinkedIn, right? What do you think LinkedIn's business strategy is? Let's do a quick brainstorm together. And then
To
I'm going to,
connect people,
sorry?
connect people.
Okay, connect people. Okay, that's very broad. Connect any group of people?
No, of course, يعني educated or يعني these
Professional.
people.
Is the purpose
Professional,
educated
yes.
people? What is the end goal of LinkedIn? What's the purpose? The end goal. What is the goal and the vision that it wants to achieve?
To
When
make
I
It's a
go,
platform for the
Globalization.
seekers, job seekers.
jobs, literally. Yes, what you said
Yep.
about connecting people is relevant, but that's not the main goal, right? The main goal when it started again, because right now LinkedIn has a very broad set of services, right? But when it started, it was a platform. And was it the first platform that allowed job seekers to find jobs? Was it the first company to do that?
No, there is many.
No, there were many before it. You have ZipRecruiter, you have Monster.com, Seek.com. These were very, very popular. Indeed, these were all popular platforms for people to find jobs. LinkedIn had the same purpose, but it approached it in a very different way. Yes, it added the aspect of connecting people, networking. So not only to find a job and find job seekers, but it wants people or professionals to create networks. You have a network of professionals. Very good. Instead of saying connecting people, I would say network of helping professionals create a network. Great. What else does LinkedIn do today?
LinkedIn's like a normal social media. Now every company
normal,
has
yes, and
both.
that's why we say
They have
network.
the open profile, but all the ads there making like ads social media. I think.
It's also the sales people can reach you in the inbox, right?
Yes.
Sales
Also courses, free course.
courses, that's what I was waiting for. It's
LinkedIn
now
Learning.
it's a learning and development platform. Courses. It was never like that, but you can see how it started as a job thing, connecting the seekers with whatever. Then it became a network, a social media network platform, professional social media, then advertising, as you said. And nowadays you can buy a business account, a sales. People can reach me directly into my inbox to sell me something. And now the most recent, and the courses, of course, and the most recent one is where I get a message telling me that this person is selling their services. I don't know if you're getting it. In the last couple of weeks, every now and then I get a message telling me that this person has many services to sell, services, not even a product. So again, it is evolving over time. So their business strategy, if we think about their business strategy, they came after many other providers were already there. They came in with a different model, which was talent solutions. Talent solutions is talent for employment, but they didn't come to say, I link you, find a job, apply for the job. No, they're finding solutions. So with the talent solution, there is learning and development, there is marketing, there is premium, everything connected with employment and the workplace all together, right? It's not just job finding like the others, right? Which one do you know? Think of one that you know. If you know Indeed, it's just finding a job. There's nothing else. Whereas here, They're giving you a full set of solutions. And that's their business model. Remember what I said about a business model. You have to have a business model. And where do they make their money from? If you come in to do your marketing solutions, you pay. And then you have your premium subscription. If you want to stand out from everybody else, you pay a premium fee. So they will promote your profile before everybody else because you're paying. So again, this is a business model, right? It looks like it's free, and it is free, but there's other ways that they are making money. That's their business model. They attract you to the platform first, and then they start pushing other services on you. Is this clear how this business strategy looks like? Okay. Here we're looking at, I'm going to let you, please try to watch this video, because here we're going to look at the concept of Apple, okay? And Apple uses a different model than LinkedIn does. Apple uses the model of the razor blade business model. You can scan the QR code and watch this video later on. It's on your slides. I highly advise that someone looks at that. If we look at Apple, and how it's maybe not today, it has changed a lot, but Apple came into the market with what we call the reverse razor and blade business model. This idea of razor and blade comes from this, the men will probably be more familiar with this, even though today razors are made for women also. If anyone notices the Gillette, you know, the disposable razor that you shave your beard with for the men. Yeah, you buy the actual tool, the main thing that you use, and then you buy the blades separately, right? And the blades in the razor model, the razor and blade model, the tool itself is more expensive and the razors are cheap. And there is the reverse razor and blade, where the actual tool is cheaper and the razors are more expensive. So the razor blade, I don't know if anyone in their old days bought that special shaving tool where you keep the same handle and you just change the razor blade. عم نحكي عن الشفرة, yeah? شفرة حلاقة.
Yeah. I know
You guys are
that.
with
Todd.
me, right?
Just
Okay.
only changing the blade or inside.
Exactly.
Open it.
Exactly. So the razor blade model is buying an expensive base and just cheap blades that you changed. The Apple model is the opposite, the reversed razor blade, which means Apple will sell you a phone that is at a high margin profit, and then they will sell you the other stuff cheaper, free, whatever. So they make their money from their accessories, by the way. Right? So the accessory is where they make their money. They will try to give you a good blade. They attract your customers, okay, to a platform, very high margin iPhones, iPads, and Macs. And then they start giving you a cheaper platform. You can use iTunes, you can use, but see all these extras that they add? They make their money from those extras, if that makes sense. And people choose them because they are constantly adding accessories. Of course, today Apple has changed this model, but this is how Apple came into the market, okay? Apple came with the razor blade, and then of course it started reversing it. So their iPhones were very expensive and their services were cheaper. Now they try to kind of reduce their profit from the actual iPhone, and then they started selling the other stuff that we used to get for free. The services now is what they are using to make money. The opposite, like you buy your iPhone and every new iPhone comes with a different type of charger, right? When we went from the normal USB to the Type-C to this, they make money out of this. These accessories, you have to buy them. You don't have a choice, right? And if I want to connect my phone to my Mac, I need to go into iTunes and I need to have an account and I need to buy all those apps that maybe at first we used to get them for free. So they have changed their business model. So this business model that Apple uses today comes from the idea of the shaving. That's why it's called the razor and blade business model. And then you can reverse that. And this is what this video will show you. This video will show you the actual razor blade business model, and then it will show you how it has been reversed. It's a video, I just took a screenshot of it. It's a very interesting video to watch, right? Where your cost for the actual tool can be very expensive, and then the blades are cheaper, or the opposite. Does that make sense? In the past, they used to sell the blade without profit because the actual machine itself was very expensive, right? And then now, this is cheap and this one is sold expensive. So again, they turn these, what is the cheap and what is the expensive, and they change the business model depending on the markets, depending on the trends, depending on what works and what doesn't work. And this is how most businesses work. They keep changing. Depending on what people are more interested in. Do people want to keep the same base and just buy an expensive, for example, let's look at the toothbrush. You know those electrical toothbrushes? You buy the base and then you just keep changing the toothbrush. And they're not cheap. Neither one of them is cheap. Go ahead.
I think they have a lot of product to can give it to, yani, when you have this older blade, they changing the other blade to have more space in the market.
Of course, they want to open up new to compete in the market. You do this all the time. All businesses try to flip from the razor blade to the reverse razor blade, and every time it's a different market end. Some people like to have the actual base and to just change the tips. Today, people like the variety. For example, you don't buy the base only because one day you get it in green, one day you get it, now they make them for women in pink. You know what I mean? Because the customer now wants variety. So they make the base cheaper and they start making more money from the replacement blade. Because people now want to change the base. They get bored. So why pay too much for the base? Pay less for the base, but then when you want a refill, you have to come and pay for the refill. You already have the base, so you have to buy the refill. So it's just a way of capturing the market, like you said, absolutely. To create new space in the market, absolutely. Because Gillette is one of the oldest business models, right? It's been around since my grandfather. I still remember my grandfather using these, right? It's a very old.
Yeah, it's I think since 1990,
Yeah.
1980, 30 or 20, I think so.
Yeah,
When
and
they're
now
starting the
electrical ones, absolutely. Yeah. But to stay in the market, they had to shift this model, right? And they're still there. They've shifted into new clients. They target women. They're disposable. You use them once and you throw them. All these different ways that they are trying to expand their market, like you said. So these are all what we call business models, and they are part of strategy. And that's what I was trying to say to you. We're going to go to your Zoom rooms for me now. And this is what I want you to do. We're going to go back to your business ideas. And I want you to follow these steps. We have built a vision already. Sah? We know what we are offering. We know what our value proposition is. What are we offering the client? We have a vision. We know what our product is. Last time you put strategies, I asked you to put like one strategy. Go back and refine it as your top level objective. Okay. And then now, how are you going to distinguish yourself in the market? How are you going to be different from what other companies like you are doing? So your market competition. And then next step is I want to see your business model. How are you? I want to reach only to this level, okay? To the point of the business model, and then we come back. This, you've already done the first one, but we're going to review it with the second one. And the third one is your market. You know what you want, just refine it so it looks like a business strategy formulation. Now I want you to start thinking of the step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4 of your business strategy. So your strategy is now becoming clearer, more refined, more sophisticated, clear to you, clear to us. And I want a business model. Remember what I said about the business model. How am I going to make my profit? Right? So basically, how is this product? How will it appear? How will it arrive and reach the client? What it would look like? How will the client see it, select it, buy it, and pay you so that you can make profit? Question here, if in summary, okay, how are you going to make your profit? You need to have a business model for this. No business can survive without a business model. I just showed you the business model for Apple. We looked at the business model for LinkedIn. And we also looked at the business model of a very old company that has changed its business model in order to survive in today's world. So is it clear what we're going to do? Take a screenshot of this if you want. We already have a vision. We already have, like last time you put a strategy, turn it into a top level objective, state what the objective, 1 or 2 objectives, and how are you going to differentiate yourself from in the market? How are you going to position yourself in the market? I do remember some of you have already in your vision tried to identify yourself as different. Remember when we talked about the perfume thing, we also said, okay, everybody else is doing it. How are you going to be different? So this is your differentiation in the market, your competition. And the last bit is the cycle of your business model. Okay, how are you going to make profit? I have a product. How will people buy it? Are they going to go online? They're going to see it. They're going to choose it. They're going to pay for it. Online, they're going to pay for it, or they're going to come to the shop and they're going to come for my service and they are going to buy it. I don't know. Create your business model. Show me the cycle of the product reaching the client and the client paying you back. What are the steps involved? Right? Is that clear? Any questions before we go into Zoom rooms? Okay. Let's go back. Room 1 was, remind me please, guys. Room 1 was the trust fund. صح?
room 4 أو 3 كانت
Trust
room
fund
1
was room.
كانت اللي هي مال العطور.
Yes. Room 1 is perfume. Okay. What was the name of it? It was something scent. Can someone tell me what did you call it?
Scent itself. It was scent.
Scent. Yeah. Do you know that on the weekend
and
I was
scent, yeah.
I was somewhere, and scent, right?
Mm.
On the weekend I thought about this idea. I was in the mall and there was a perfume shop called Dr. Scent. Do you have it in Dubai?
Yes, we do.
Dr. Scent?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it and I thought about you guys and I thought, oh, okay. Dr. Scent and Scent. Okay. So the room 1 is the perfume. Room 2. Now I only have 3 rooms. Okay. So room 1 is the perfume. Room 2. The room 2 is the trust fund, and room 3 is the food, healthy food. We only have 3 now. I don't have 4 rooms. Okay. So I'm going to open 3 rooms randomly. You know which team you belong to. 1, if you are in perfume, go to room 1. You can choose and I can help you later. If anyone is stuck, I can move you. But room 1 is perfume. Room 2 is trust fund. Room 3 is healthy food. Okay. I'm going to open the rooms and then I will help you go into them, but I'm going to say assign manually. Sorry, let participants choose. Well, I can help you also. Rooms are open. If anyone needs me to move you, please tell me which room and I'll move you. But if you can't do it yourselves, it's faster. Sure, guys, can I help? You are still unassigned. Khulud, are you
Yes.
there? Me,
Can
who
you
wants to help?
move
Who?
room 3?
Who needs me to move you? Ismail?
Abu No,
Abu Nof, I'm trying to find you. Okay. Room, what number?
3.
3. يلا.
وانا بعد دكتوره روم
Who
1
is it? Who is it?
فيصل.
Because I can't see
Alpha
who's
6.
talking.
Alpha
You're the
6.
FFAE, FFA, صح?
ايوه FAA. ايوه.
You're the rocket like Elon Musk's son.
Yes.
Yeah, Elon Musk's son. I don't know how he calls him, to be honest. X, I don't know what. Okay, which room? You make me laugh sometimes.
روم 1.
Room 1, Faisal. Yalla, good luck. Anyone else needs me to help move you? Please, yalla, tell me so I can move you all.
أنا دكتورة
روم
روم
1 عامر.
Who
sorry
is it? Rawan, معلش, tell me.
okay روان
Is it
room 2
Rawan, room 2. Yalla. Who else wanted room 1? I heard
عامر روم 1.
Amir, yalla, room 1. And who else? Hamad, Hiba, Shamma.
Room 3.
Who? Shamma,
Hiba.
Hiba. Okay, good. Room 3. Yalla. Next. Ismail, Shamma, Khalifa, Muad, Mira, Khulud. I'm assuming you're not here. Ismail, I can see you're flashing. No? Okay, great. There's still someone out?
room 1
Who is this? I
معاذ.
can't hear you. Hamad or Muad?
معاذ.
Room 1, yeah? You're cutting out, by the way. Anyone
معاذ, yeah.
else?
Yes,
Yeah, I already
Professor.
moved. I moved you. Who's next?
Yeah, me.
Who is me?
Mira.
Mira, thank you. Which room, حبيبتي?
ما طلع لي الصراحة أي روم أدش.
I will put you. Which room? You haven't done anything yet?
No, ما طلع لي.
طب choose health. هات شوف which room is smallest. You can go to the food, healthy food, or you can go to the trust fund. Go to healthy food. Room 3, okay? I haven't put you in a room before. يلا.
لأن هاي أول مرة أدش الكلاس لأن كان الريجستريشن مالي
No
مطول.
problems. Listen to them and they've done a great job. You will learn a lot. Anyone else? Anyone else is still in my room so I can put you out?
Yeah, Shamma also.
Mira, I already put you in room 3. Just accept and join. Shamma, where do you want to go?
Also me, I'm new. It's my first class.
Okay. How about I put you in room 2, which is the trust fund?
Okay, fine.
Yalla, just to distribute you in different places. The perfume is too big, that's why. Anyone else? Ismail, Muhammad, Khalifa, Khulud. Okay, I think everybody's fine. Hello, Hiba. Are you there? Hiba? Hiba, are you with me? I see you're out. Okay, Noura was also in room 3.
دكتور اعطينا هسه 2 minutes please نعطيكي outcome كتير منيح.
as usual دكتورة يعني.
مش as usual، حرام، هالمرات الماضية كنا
لا
اوكي.
لأن كل مرة أطلب منها أنا أقول لها دكتورة 1 minute extra تقول لا أنا بتعمد أحط لكم شيء عشان أعصركم.
بس نحن هلا مفتخرين بشغلنا، يعني بدنا نرجيكي the best of the best. Doctor, you are here.
دكتورة رجعنا الغرف.
We're all coming back. I think I gave you more than I promised.
بس
Yeah.
دكتور والله شكرا كثير.
Yes, thank you.
يعطيك العافيه يعطيك العافيه دكتوره.
تفضل الموضوع.
To be honest, I wanted to do that because business formulation, strategy formulation is important. Like it's the key to the course. So usually I give more time for this, but also because I know one of the groups is short on its team members. So we have time to listen to at least 2 today. And then next time, like we did last week, we will pick up the third one with the team members around. So I will keep it hanging until Noura and Hiba. Hiba was here and then she disappeared. So let's get started with sharing. My favorite part is listening to you. So who's gonna go first? I have 2 groups that are kind of ready to go.
يلا جروب 1 عيل.
جروب 1 نحن بنبدا.
طبعا فوزان because he's gonna fly, so we'll start if you don't mind.
شوفي ما شاء الله الكوميتمنت هو ناطر الطيارة
Oh my God. This is amazing. Joyda. I'm so impressed.
واحد يحكي ما شاء الله عنه تبارك الرحمن لا قوة إلا بالله.
And Eid is on his motorbike and he's listening to us, I suppose. Okay, yalla. Yalla Fazan, go ahead.
تمام. Just give me a second.
No worries, take your time. Take your time, guys. Take your time.
Yeah. So, we discussed, like me and my team, who are holding and sent project.
Okay.
Yeah. As we spoke like on our last time.
Yes.
Our vision was to be a world-class fragrance that blends creativity and passion to deliver unique, memorable scent. This was our vision last time.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, the building emotional was connection through fragrance.
Okay.
Yeah. Our top level objective to maintain customer satisfaction above 75% on after each quarter, and to achieve 80% of total sale by Q1 in 2026.
Hello. Very measurable, objective. It should be a top level, so it's bigger, and then you can break it into smaller parts. When we say top level objectives, try to make it a big one so that when it goes down to the business units, to the operations, that they can also break it down. Okay, so it has to be a generic one.
You mean as initiatives, right?
Yeah, I think you can. It's good that you are, when you say maintain, customer, whatever, now you can break it down into smaller ones because we need a top level objective first.
To achieve the results.
Yes. So this will now be broken down into smaller. So I'm glad that you didn't specify exactly what kind of customer. When you say maintain means I want to keep it. So it's a tougher job than just achieving.
Yeah.
You want to maintain. So it will require a lot of other smaller KPIs. Perfect. And the second one was to reach a sale by so and so. So you can also break it down into smaller ones. Perfect. So your plan of attack, your battlefield, your market, your differentiation.
Yeah. Actually, we planned like to make like a market segment based on the age and the range.
Okay.
Means, for example, let's say we are going to sell. We are targeting, of course, like different ages. Let's say, for example, the age 50 plus, we call their perfumes like a wisdom or wise perfumes. Like to attract this age range of age. So and so depend on the age.
Okay.
Yeah, this was our plan of attack.
Hello. You will name your perfume based on the demographics of people that you are targeting.
True.
Hello.
True.
I like this.
And we'll do like a personalized fragrance It is an idea came up that based on, let's say, based on your mood at the current time that you want to buy. Of course, we
Yeah.
have like some memories, something, and upon that we can make your own perfume. It will be unique only for you.
Okay, so it's like make your own.
Yes.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
good way of differentiating yourself. But you know that there are a lot of perfume factories. I like the idea of naming it by the age groups, but also I don't know if there are perfumes that you can name yourself.
Yeah, actually,
you
this
seen
this
any?
and personalized fragrance.
Yeah.
Actually, this is like from A to Z. Include the name.
Can
Include.
name it. Okay.
Yes.
That's a differentiation because I think
Mm.
making your own perfume, it exists. It's there. So how are you going to make it different? And remember, I like when you said unique, memorable experience. So the fact that they are creating it with you in the moment and depending on how they are feeling and their mood, right? And then they name it, that's an experience. So you are now
Yeah.
meeting your vision. Your vision is an experience, remember? So you need
Yes.
to create the experience. So they are making it, hence they are creating the experience. I think if they name it also, it'll be perfect. But also you
Yeah.
said depending on their mood at the time that they are buying. Will you have something? This is me now just adding my own. Will you have something, an experience that will help them identify their mood at the time, or you want them to tell you how they are feeling at the time?
Doctor, can I answer this?
Yes. Go.
Okay. If sorry, on
Go
behalf
ahead. Go ahead.
of the team,
It's
يعني,
okay. It's okay.
if
Let's
you-
hear.
yeah, if you remember when we defined our culture and our vision and our leadership style with this, we spoke about the AI to invest in this technology. So maybe we can use the AI,
Absolutely.
to ask them
Absolutely.
about this, and accordingly he will analyze. يعني
Yes.
the AI will analyze and give us the ingredients of the perfume based on their
Absolutely. This is what I was trying to say. I have a friend, for example, in Australia, who's created a business that's based on psychology research, a real life research on people's moods and the kind of drinks that they like. And all that information was fed and put into AI, and AI was starting to match. It will ask people a few questions online, and it will match their personalities, because the research data, which was a real life research, that was matching people with certain personalities and the types of drinks that they like. All this data findings from the research was added into AI. And so when the people come to buy their drink, it matches the drink with their personalities. So you can do the same with the moods. So there'll be like a quick survey. So there has to be that interactive experience. And yes, AI would actually do a fantastic job. I just felt like I had to add this because, again, that's another way to differentiate yourself from the current market, right? And to match your vision of experience. Everything you do has to be an experience, because that's your vision.
Doctor, also this, it was mentioned in our strategic framework in the innovation to invest in technology and NI for scent personalization.
Absolutely. Perfect. So this is good. Now this will be you have more than one way to place yourself in the market and to have your own position that's different from your competitors. Fantastic. Your business model.
The business model, if you allow me, I will just mention it in brief, Doctor. We focused on the innovation, excellence, sustainability, and customer experience. We try to link it to our culture previously defined and our vision, where in the innovation we will invest, as I said, in the technology and especially AI for the scent personalization.
Okay, but your business model means how
The
product-
structure, framework, and the governance.
Wait, business model is how the product will reach to the client, how the client will buy it, how the client will pay you, and how the money will come back to you. That's your business model. It's finance. Business model is literally your money, your revenue. For example, let me help you with examples. Does
Yes.
the second group have a business model? The group about trust fund. Do you have a business model?
I'm not quite sure if we covered all the
Okay.
points.
That's all right. So with a business model, I'll just give you guys an example. We'll come back to it later because I'm going to explain the difference between a business plan and a business model, which people always confuse. But for example, the business model for Amazon. What's the business model? How does Amazon get the product to the client and how does it make money? Tell me. Does Amazon make the products?
No,
No.
No.
So where does the business model for Amazon start?
It's on
the
Platform?
dealer.
supply chain.
Platform, and then people put their own products in. So the products on Amazon come from providers, suppliers, okay? But other businesses, many different businesses send their products into Amazon. The client goes online, chooses what they want, right? Select, pay, and then Amazon delivers to you, and then, but you've already paid, right? This is Amazon's business model. That's all it does. But it sells different products, right? Books. So their products are a variety. Their providers are a variety. But you don't deal with the provider, right? The provider deals with Amazon. Amazon deals with the customer. So it's a B2C model, a business to customer directly model. ماشي? That's a business model. In your case, you need to find out, is your perfume going to have more than one platform? Is it in a shop? If it's in the shop,
Yes.
what's the business model for the shop? If
Okay,
it's online, what's the business model? Do you understand what I mean by business model?
Yes. Doctor, we can give you one business model now,
Give it to me.
which
Yes.
is the vending machine. It will be
Hello.
distributed in the companies along with the malls, integrated directly with the AI model so that they will have this personalized scent or perfume based on their mood. This also, it's like advertisement. Okay, because they will be too much excited based on their mood questionnaire done by the AI. They will experience now what perfume I will have. So we will focus mainly on first on the vending machine.
Hello.
Accordingly, we can expand.
You test your market. That's a very good place to start your business model. You can change your business model as the business grows. So you can start. I don't know if it's in anywhere in the UAE. I haven't seen it in Qatar, but in Australia, for example, just before I left, they started having robots that were making pizzas from scratch and selling them in a vending machine in the food courts. So literally, you could choose what ingredients you want, and it will literally bake the pizza for you. It will make it, it will bake it, and then it will give it out to you while you are sitting in the food court. So see, this is a model that it's a machine that will do everything, and you will test it only. You test it in different places. You start in a small place because the machines are expensive. You're not going to go and buy 1 million of them or create 1 million of them, right? Perfect. So the vending machine is a good place to test the market and test the product. Perfect. That's a good business model. That's a business model, by the way. Yeah. And you might have a variety of business models into one main business model. But usually you have to start with one and then start branching different business models. Perfect. Can I hear from the second group? This is really good. Thank you very much. It was well worth giving you the extra time. Let's hear
Welcome.
about the trust fund. And Farzan, anytime you need to hop on your plane, please tell us. And thank you so much for hanging around for this.
I can speak for Group 2.
Please go ahead.
So Trust Fund, our vision that we will have a successful trust fund locally, but our target to grow in the region later on and to have in all main cities a branch that represent our company values in these markets and help people to invest their money in trusted future.
Okay.
So how we wanted to plan our approach to the market.
Well,
First of all, we need
your top level objective. Was it that transferring into international markets? Is that your top level, or the local first?
Yeah. So the end vision that we will have regional.
Yes, but I'm
distance.
asking about step 2.
So step
Last
2
time-
to establish the success in local market first.
Okay, excellent. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So
And by the way, try to make your objectives, even though they're top level, try to make your objectives a little bit actionable. When you say successful, that's more of a vision word rather than an objective. Make sure your objectives are kind of, they're top level, but they are an objective. That is, it's got an action, it's got a time frame, it's got a measurable thing, but on a top level, which means you can still break it down into smaller parts, if that makes sense. Yeah. So try to come up. It's like the strategy that you had last time. You came up with one objective or one. I told you have one strategy and come up with a tactic. Your strategy might involve a small, higher level objectives within the strategy. Okay. So we will think about this again next time. But let's move to your plan of attack, which is really what I would like to hear today.
So we talk about, like, first step will be to organize ourselves internally, and do we have the correct team legally and financially, and like who will handle the accounting, who will handle the sales, and we also structured our processes and our communication to the market. Then we will select who is our customer niche, and we agree and develop our communication market message to them, like a marketing campaign.
Okay, but who is that? Who is that market niche? We're not telling me the steps. You're telling me exactly what they are. Yani tell me who. For example, with the first group, they specified, okay, for example, we will focus by age groups, 50 plus, for example. So who will be your target market niche? At least your first target. Who?
Yeah, so we will, I think it's just thinking now, like to
Yes, it's okay. Think now.
Yeah, so we will target, let's say, like top manager for companies who are more than 40 plus years, because they are on the level that they have the money capacity to invest, but maybe they don't have the time to follow on investments in the market.
Perfect.
So
You
could
really
be, this
have
is
to
a starting point.
specify. You have to specify your market. Where are you going, so that you can build a business model. You cannot build a business model if you don't know where your battlefield is, which area, which space, and sometimes you can expand it, right? I'm not saying this will be the end of you, but you need to differentiate yourself when you start, so that you can stay in the market and start expanding. Perfect. I think your selection of target is perfect. Okay. And your competition. And I actually don't think there is a lot of competition here, but this is the space you're going to. 40 plus, middle management. Are we looking at males and females? I'm sure. Yeah. You're looking at men and women?
Yes, probably also families, like
Families. Okay.
that range, because I think families have the most, let's say, worries about their financial situation.
Absolutely. Okay, that's great. Anything else you'd like to add, which is your business
So
model?
how we differentiate ourselves in the market from existing big international companies?
Yes.
We could implement transparency in our way or where we will invest the money of the company and their money, the customer company, and we'll give them access to check it by app or website. They have real-time access to see what's happening and what profit they get every day. So they have this transparency. And we will focus our investment in specific areas. So we will, maybe it could be real estate and technology companies. And also stocks in companies that deal with technology and AI.
Okay, so you're going to select also the industries that you will focus your investments on.
Yeah, because this will help us to develop our message to the customer, where the money will go.
Yes, absolutely.
And this will give us a bit more trust.
Absolutely. If you are in specific areas of investment, it will not only build the trust of your client, it will also differentiate you from others, because you might have to look at where are your competitors putting most of their investments, and you try to find a market that is profitable, but maybe no one else has tapped into. So, and again, they will know real estate, I go to this company, blah, 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 I go to this. Perfect. So you want to specialize also in the areas of investment. I like this.
Yeah,
this
because
is a good...
this will make us specialists in this kind of investment.
Absolutely.
And also will attract the customers who are interested in this kind of...
In this specific, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. This is really good. This is a very, very specific market that you're identifying as a niche, and you're going to be representing that. So your branding will be that. This is perfect so far. Your business model?
And yeah, so business model, we will offer our services, our expertise in this kind of investment, and we will make different channels to invest in us. So it could be on a payment plan or upfront payment, and our collecting for the value.
That's a very good, that's really good. So clients are going to come to you directly, or are you going to go through companies to them or directly to you? Is this going to be a B2C, like a business to customer, or a B2B?
Yeah, I think B2C, because we wanted to approach individuals who are interested to fix their future investments.
Okay, so you're going to go B2C.
We will allow them for different payment methods. Could be a payment plan or upfront payments. So, and this will affect the margin they will get from us later on their benefits.
That's really good. That's a business model, guys. How you are going to deliver the product and how you are going to be charging for it. Okay, so the client is going to reach you through what? Online? How are you going to promote yourself so the client will know where to find you? Is it all going to be on your website only? Are you going to go through banks? How are you going to do this? This is part of your business model.
Correct. As we are a new company in this market, so we will, let's say, be selective on the customer that could be a big potential for us. So we will make a study in the market, and we will make a kind of research on the customer that can be interested to us, like 40 plus years working as a manager for a company, something. So we collect this, and then we can communicate with them individually. And let's say at the beginning, because we don't want to spread wide, we wanted to focus our first starting. So we will approach a customer individually, maybe meet them, because it could involve a big money from their savings to do this. So we wanted to make it more trustful and communicating face to face.
Yes, personalized. Absolutely. Thank you. This is fantastic. It may not. Sorry. Carry on.
And once we start to have a few customers, we will give our big focus on it to make it successful story, and then we use a successful story to promote it for new customers later on.
This is really good. It may not be a perfect business model, guys. We are still learning how to create these things. But for me, what matters is to see how a business strategy is built from a vision to a high level objective to deciding where your market is, how are you different, place yourself, position yourself, and then look at your business model. The business model may not, and you need to ask yourself, is it realistic? Are my assumptions and my claims possible? Does it stand? Does my business model stand? First, you develop the business model and then you check, you do a reality check on it. Will it work? Right? So usually that's where we do testing and piloting and whatever. And based on these 4 steps that you've already done, guys, these 4 steps will lead you into what we call your strategic framework. From this, you start building the framework, your strategic framework. Once you have identified the first 4, everything else is going to flow based on this. Without these 4 steps, you cannot jump into strategy. So thank you very much. With the healthy food, we will wait until next week when you are back. The team is back and you are doing a bit more. Otherwise, we will together try to come up with, I do take notes about these ideas myself, but I always prefer the owners of the ideas to share, because every time you go back into the room, the ideas, look at these 2 groups, the ideas have evolved, right? And you own them. So you explain them differently. So anyway, perfect that we have 2 examples today, and I'm very happy about that. Now, this is something I want you guys to really, when you get a chance at some point, to tap into. This is an article with AI today sweeping into everything. If you understand how a strategy is developed from the course, you're going to learn what strategy is, how it works, and all that. To formulate a business strategy, AI, if you know what you're doing and you understand strategy, AI today is transforming how we develop strategy. This is a most recent article on how AI is changing the way people are developing strategy. But first, people need to understand how strategy is formulated, right? And now that you know what is required and what you have to think about, try to engage AI to refine and give you the best form of strategy. But the answer in all this is the prompts that you give AI. The more you explain to AI what you want, the more detailed your input into AI is. Even your business model, by the way. AI can give you a business model based on your vision and your higher level objective, but you need to give AI as much information as possible to narrow the way AI thinks. AI is dumb, and you are the smart person training it to be smart. So whatever questions or whatever prompts you ask AI to act on is how AI will react to you. So someone who doesn't understand business strategy goes to AI and say, build a strategy for a perfume company, is not going to get the same value as someone who really knows what the steps of strategy are and is guiding the AI to give you exactly what you want. So what you will do is you will give AI everything you have given me. You will also input the parameters and the questions I have just posed to narrow your focus. And then you can ask AI to give you something. And you can actually try to give AI in one prompt all the information it needs. The more information you give it, the more accurate the output is going to be. You can even tell AI to ask you questions about things that are not yet given to it, that it needs, even if it needs documents from you, if it needs more information from you, ask, so let it ask you so you can answer them. And you know how I was asking you questions today? So who is your customer? What are you going to do? Where are you going to start? AI can ask you these questions if you haven't thought about giving it the information. So do me a favor, do yourselves a favor. We live in a world today where AI is taking over everything, and it's making many things in our lives easier. I don't use it as a replacement, but I think everyone needs to know how they like read more about how AI is changing the way people develop strategy. Strategy today will be much easier to develop using AI if you understand. So this is a McKinsey article, and please just look at it, read it, scan. You can scan to read it if you want to save it. Just something extra that I have added to keep you to keep the course relevant also, right? Because I'm teaching you the course so that you know how strategy is built. But I cannot deny the fact that today, everything we do can be done by AI. Am I going to ignore that? Or am I going to open up your world of how you can even not only use AI to build the company that you want, you can use AI to help you build a strategy. But you need to know what you are looking for. AI will not know what you're looking for without you specifying it. So I'm going to give you a bit of a break. I think you've had enough of me today. Just a break, or do you want me to scroll through? What do you want?
Doctor, maybe we can continue.
True.
Yeah, I believe we can continue. So at least I can get the maximum information before I leave.
You're still around. I
Please.
thought you left. Okay, yes. I'm fine. I'm very happy to continue because I want to watch the game. Okay. Oh, now we're going to start looking at the phones. I trust you guys to give me the scores. Okay. So let's look at strategic planning. Now you notice we have moved from strategic direction. We are going into strategic planning. So now we're going a little bit kind of lower on the levels. So we have talked about having a vision statement, right? We've talked about the mission statement. We said we need our values. Maybe I didn't do them in the same order. I do them in a different order for my own teaching purposes. I always start with your values and then I build the vision and the mission. It's fine. And because I'm trying to get to know you at the beginning, I usually start with your values. And then I start to go into vision and mission. Today I'm going to show you some examples of mission. Remember how last time I said the vision is who you want to be or what you want to be, and the mission is what you want to do. Mission is more actions. And then we talked about your SWOT analysis as a starting point for a strategy, always. Then, of course, you're going to set your long-term goals and your short-term goals. So you have to have your long-term goals and then your annual objectives. Like some of you gave me strategic objectives that were quarterly. If you're on a higher level, do not go on a quarter. You might want to go on a year basis or a couple of years basis. And then when you go to break it down into strategic plan, then you can break it down into annual. Okay? And once you have set your long-term objectives and your annual plan, then you can start putting action plans. So this is really the 7 elements of your strategic plan. If you follow these steps, you will now go from setting a strategic direction, which is a higher level, which is the strategy formulation we just did now. What we did before in the Zoom room is a much higher level. Now we are moving to the actual strategic plan using the higher level, a vision, objectives, business model, and all that. Now, you can also create business models on a lower level if you want later on. But let's quickly look at formulating a vision statement. Yeah, an example of a vision statement, which I think now you all understand because we are looking at, this is a very old company called Zappos. And before the internet, Zappos vision was that one day, 30% of all our sales in the US will be online. Has this happened today? Of course. It's even sometimes 100%. So see how this is a very old company, and its vision was that one day, 30% of their sales will be online. They will have an online store, that they will focus on service, that will allow us to wow our customers. Again, wow, maybe 30% is really not very futuristic, but in those days when this vision was written, The online market did not exist, huh? So it was very futuristic then. To wow our customers, remember this, to be the best, to be excellent, right? Wowing your customers, our employees, our vendors, the wow factor. Does the wow factor ever end? If I am wowed today, can you wow me again tomorrow and the day after and the day after? Yes, right? Wow is is endless. That's why vision is endless. So the words you choose for setting vision have to be almost unachievable. And if it's achievable, it doesn't end. So you can do something that will make me feel wow today, but that doesn't mean your vision is finished. You can do something else that will wow me tomorrow. So the terminology wow is a very big thing, is a very far-fetched, ideal thing. We are not wowed every day, right? Nobody is wowed every minute of the day. The wow is the excellence, is the extreme, is the number one, is the best. Same. I'm just trying to show you how vision statements need to be very futuristic. They are timeless. Who is my motorbike guy? He's not here. Zaid. I think it's Eid. This example of Harley Davidson. This is an example of a mission statement, right? Not a vision statement, but a mission statement. So now there's an action, right? Because it's a mission. We fulfill the dreams. We make your dreams come true. This is similar to the perfume, by the way. Yeah, we fulfill dreams through the experience of motorcycling. So here, fulfill is an action verb. Maybe they want to be the unique motorcycle experience globally. That's a vision. Unique, probably not even motorcycle. The vision might be a unique riding experience. It could be the ride of a motorcycle. It could be anything else. They are open. But the mission is to fulfill dreams. So we make your dreams come true through the experience of motorcycling. How? By providing motorcyclists and the general public with a long line of bikes, branded products, and services in selected market segments. This is like the trust fund. The trust fund is focused on a selected market segment. The perfume vision is not focused on selected. You may start with a group, but your vision is not only a group. Your mission might be with a group, but you don't even want a group. You want the experience, right? But with the trust fund, you are selecting a market segment. Otherwise, you can't. You need people who have the money to invest. So you have already from the beginning, your market segment is identified, if that makes sense. Maybe later, if your vision is broad, instead of only servicing for, let's say, investment, you might actually start education, financial education programs, right? Not only for people who have money who can go and invest, but you might have a younger generation come in and you might start teaching them how to manage their finances so that when they are 40, they will have that money saved to invest. Does that make sense? So you don't want to close the door on what else you can offer. Same as LinkedIn. LinkedIn's business model allows it to bring in training. When they started, there wasn't any courses, right? There wasn't any direct sales through your inbox. So it's open. So your vision has to be open. Your mission can be more specific and you can change it over time. So I just wanted to show you examples of vision and mission in general. Okay, and I go back to how we go. This is the same thing we just talked about. We go from vision to long-term goals, to yearly objectives, into an action plan to create what we call a strategic plan. This is Coca-Cola and its core values. These are examples of values. I just wanted to show you before we move forward to make sure that everybody understands how we write vision statements, how we write mission statements, and how our core values could be. Leadership, collaboration, integrity, we've already done that. Accountability, diversity and inclusion is huge today. Please do not forget this as a key to being relevant. Not only technology is relevant in AI, diversity and inclusion is a big thing. When you create a product, make sure that your product is catering to people with special needs. We call them people of determination in the UAE, صح? أصحاب الهمم. These are people. Do not exclude them. Do not create products. Someone said to me the other day, we're going to create products, but we also want probably to move into expats. So again, you may be creating local type of perfumes, but you may also want to cater to others. Maybe I am not someone who can handle the strong oud perfume, for example. Is there something for me? So think about how you can include people in your brands. Inclusion is very important. Unless you want to focus on one, let's say you want to focus on UAE nationals, or even within the UAE nationals, you need to diversify. Your clients, what I mean, as in diversity and inclusion, meaning include everybody, right? If you notice, for example, Coca-Cola, if they have an advertisement in the Gulf, the advertisement is made to attract. They bring local people or people that look like locals, and they put them in the desert. If anyone was watching NBC, for example, you will see a different advertisement for different Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these companies, Nescafe. I don't know if anyone's seen this new Nescafe ad, right? This is inclusion, guys. This is your branding. When you brand, you need to be inclusive. Sustainability, again, it's probably should be in these values. These are old sustainability too. Bring it in. And this is the end of our module 3. And we're going to move. So we've discussed business strategy, different levels of strategy and how they function. And we've looked at how we can include the elements of strategy when we are planning. Areas of confusion. And this, please stay with me and be very focused. I'm glad, Farzan, you're still here. I find when I teach this course that my participants always confuse strategic plan and business plan. And they always confuse the strategic model with the business model. So far, I have talked about business models, and we have mentioned strategic plans. I have not said anything about business plan, and I have not said anything about strategic models, right? I've only talked about strategic plan and the business model when we were talking about formulating strategy. The business plan is very different from the strategic plan, even though they sound the same. A business plan is the proposal that you normally put to chartered of how you want your business to be when you go to a bank to get financing, full stop. And that is probably the only time you will use it. That business plan of yours, right? So it's a plan of the business, and it's mostly focused on finances. You go to a bank, you want to get a loan, you want an investor to give you money, business plan. Sometimes after you get the money, you never look at it. You start building your strategic plan. Of course, your business model is going to come under your strategic plan. So let's look at this, and maybe it will explain things better for you. I don't want people to confuse these terminologies. So here is your business plan versus your strategic plan. Take a quick look at the diagram for me only. And what are you noticing? Take some time to examine this diagram. I always like to use pictures. Pictures say, tell things in are better than 1,000 words. So which one is a higher level of behavior? The strategic or the business plan?
Strategic, doctor.
Strategic, absolutely. Okay.
The
And
business plan are the operational يعني plans to achieve the strategic plan.
Perfect, perfect. So the business plan is really an operational one. But notice when you look at the business plan, what is the focus of the business plan? What is it starting with? Market customer fit. Meaning, is there someone in the market who is going to buy my product? So what am I starting with? Buying, money, value, right? And then I create my business model based on it. And then I do a bit of research to see if it works. And then my guiding principles, financials, financials, financials. Everything about the business plan is about selling, market, money, who's going to buy, and how much money, and where am I going to get my money, and how am I going to get my money, and who is going to go out there to deliver to get me money. Do you see? Do you see? Does everybody see this? It's literally very finance focused, which is why I said you only use a business plan when you want to present to an investor that this business idea of mine will make you profit. That's really the purpose of a business plan. I'm going to get a loan from the bank. That's my business plan. This is how much I'm going to make. It's money. If anyone watches Shark Tank is about people who are going to put their money into your business. You can come and do a pitch quickly, but all they want to know in your pitch, most important, is your market customer fit. There is a fit for your product. Someone in the market will buy it. Have you tested it? Do you already have clients? Are you already making money? How much are you making? And if we invest in your business, how much more will we get? It's money. That's a business plan. Let's go a level higher. I get my money from the bank with a business plan, and now I'm going to go and start my business. Then I'm going to need my strategic plan. I need to have a vision. See where the strategic plan starts? With a vision. Then a mission, then my values. And then I'm going to study my impact. What kind of impact do I want to make? The process. How? So you have your foundation. For the strategic plan, the foundation is my vision and values, mission and values. For the business plan, the foundation is really, is there a market for my product? Is somebody buying it? Will somebody buy it? Prove it to me that somebody will buy it by actually having customers already. You test it on a cheap free platform. You test it online from Instagram. That's you proving that there is a market before your investor gives you money. We go back to the strategic plan. The process is to scan the environment around you. Think about how you will become sustainable in the long term, and what are your focus areas. And based on your focus areas, exactly what we just did in the activity in the Zoom room, right? We were working on the plan, on the strategic plan. We were looking at the process, the focus area, and the goals. And from the goals, we will create our KPIs, and then we will have actions. And then, of course, we will perform, and we will measure our performance again. And the result of a strategic plan is long-term direction. The outcome is a long-term direction. The outcome of a business plan is just the concept of the business and whether it is feasible or not. When we talk about feasibility, we talk about whether we can do it and we have the resources and the money for it. Does that make sense? Can you see the difference?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I really need to have this clear because there's so much terminology and it's easy for people to start confusing them. The other aspect that I noticed my participants confuse is the business model and the strategic models. I have not yet explained strategic models, but Khalid, this answers your questions with strategic models. One of the strategic models tools is we go into scenario planning and future foresight. Business model is what we just did in the activity before of how you will bring value to the client, how you will deliver the value, how you will capture that value, and how will you actually, and the value can be money, can be social, can be cultural, or anything. But how are you going, and it could be money. How are you get the product to the market, and how are you going to capture that value of the market back to you in a return of investment? A business model describes how the organization will create and deliver. This is why I asked you, how will the product reach your client? Online, in a store, how will they pay? Installments? Will I go directly to the client? Will I go through a company and have like Amazon, for example? You just go through Amazon, Amazon reaches the client, right? So you are going B2B almost. So business models here are literally how we create value, we deliver the value, we capture the value in an economic, financial, social, cultural, or any other context. Sometimes if this is a social enterprise, the value may be for society. There might be value in money, but sometimes the value might be in the society, in changing something in people's behavior. Probably when we talk about the perfume is going to bring you money, but perfume is going to make people happier. It's going to change their moods. It's going to work with their moods. What about the healthy food? Right? What about the trust fund? Today, any business that we create that doesn't actually have a little bit of social value is useless. You all know that, right? We want businesses today are always thinking about the value. In the past, it was always economic focus. Today, your economy, your social, and your environmental impact, all three together. If you are not balancing them, your business will not thrive. Because clients are looking for that. The younger generation is looking for that. What's the impact on society? What's the benefit for society? What's the benefit on the environment? So again, and that's how you sell your ideas. But this is a business model, right? How that cycle of the product to the client, from you to the client, to the customer, to pay you, to come back to you. That's the cycle. Now, the strategic model is a slightly different thing. We're going to look at that. So the business model is part of the business strategy, okay? And it's also part of the business plan to show them how you're going to make money. Now, strategic models are slightly different, big time different, and I'm going to explain them very quickly right now. Business models versus strategic models again. This is your business strategy. Inside the business strategy, you have the business model. Do you see what the business model is about? You already did an activity on the business model. Who is my target customer? How am I going to manage this? What are the services I'm going to order? How am I going to market it? How will they know about me? What are my products? How much does it cost? How will I distribute it? Am I going to deliver it? Do I have people who will deliver? Do people come and take it directly? This is business model is part of the business strategy. The process of the business model construction and modification is also called, I don't know if you've heard this before, it's also called business model innovation. I don't know if you've heard it before. Companies are constantly changing their business models. Remember the idea about the Gillette and the razor and even Apple? When they started, they were using the reverse razor model. Now they've gone back to they've changed their way of doing things. You can change your business model anytime. You don't have to change your business strategy. Again, I've explained the business plan versus the business model. I think it's very clear now with the business plan. It's just finance. It's just about your business plan is only to get money. It's focused on finances. The business model, what product am I going to sell? How am I going to get it to reach the market? What kind of expenses it will face? What is the cost? How will I price it? What will my profit margin be? If you don't think about this, you don't have a business, by the way. Okay, we've already done this. And we've actually done both. That's why I gave you more time, as you can see. I did 2 steps in one. I did the battlefield and the business model at the same time. Usually I explain the business model before I throw you in it. But today I thought, let me see if you can think about it before I explain, right? But you can see now what a business model is. That's why I didn't care. I didn't mind that you came back and you didn't really have a business model. But I just wanted you to think about it. And based on that, we build our strategy or the framework for the strategy. So in module 4, we are going to look at strategic models. We were going to understand what strategic options are. We're going to look at change management, and we're going to look at strategic options and how we evaluate them and review them. And this answers your question, Khalid, that was about how do we mitigate or how do we reduce being reactive in an organization? The best way to be proactive and minimize this constant reaction, of course, we're going to react, but less reaction, more thinking and planning when we can, is literally through what we call strategic models. So I'm going to focus on 2 types of strategic models. One is what we call the basic one. Okay, before I show you the 2 types, what is a strategic model? If you look at this picture, it's like a building with an architect. You know, the architect draws the map. This is just the image of a building that the architect will design, and then he will give it to the civil engineer who will go and build this block. So the map here, the drawing of the building, is literally your strategic plan. I'm only going to focus. They are important for the long-term success of the business. You don't have a strategic planning model, you don't have a long-term. Remember when I said you are just reacting. There is no vision. It's important to outline your objectives. And also it's a blueprint. When I say blueprint, it's literally what I'm saying about this picture here. When the architect builds or draws how a building is going to look, he is helping the person who's going to build it to follow this drawing, right? He's done the measurements, he's done the proportion of the top and the bottom and whatever. Now someone is going to execute it. That's exactly what a strategic plan is. It draws it based on the strategic direction, and then someone is going to go down and implement on the operational level and literally make it the way you have drafted it. Of course, they might change a few things while they are doing it, but the framework is there. That's what someone said roadmap before, right? Someone used the roadmap when we were talking about business strategy. Well, your strategic plan is more of a roadmap. It's actually a more specific roadmap, right? Similar to those in construction. I always use construction to explain strategic planning. In construction, you have a design first, then you go and you start constructing. And another thing I want you to understand, I'm going to share different strategic planning models, but no model is better than the other. There is no best model. It all depends on the situation you are in and the conditions you are in to choose which model you are going to use. Depends on what I'm trying to achieve, okay? The basic strategic planning is this model. It's a basic strategic model. You decide on the mission statement. Why do I exist? My vision and mission. Why am I here? Okay. Second step, what are the immediate goals? Immediate as in starting from tomorrow. What will my goal be? Related to what you need to do first, right? What is the first thing you want to do? For example, when you were talking about wanting to go, your vision was to expand into the external global market, and then your immediate one was the local one. And then your more immediate one actually was to find the 50+ aged people or the 40+ aged people. So this is where strategic planning comes. Your higher level objective was to maintain yourself or to establish yourself in the local market, very high. Now I want to go to the most immediate goal. Okay, now find my target people. That's my first goal. Or I need to find these target people and priority two things, finding the target people, okay, and also which areas of investment I'm going to go in, so that I can share something with this client when I find him. But really, your number one is to find the client who is interested in this particular case, right? But you need to have something to show them to see if they are interested. And the third step, what strategies are you going to use to achieve these short-term immediate goals? Finding the client is a short-term goal. Deciding which area of investment I want to start with, real estate, but it's short-term. You even had the answer when I asked you, is it Khalid? I think it was Khalid, right? I asked you on the spot and you were able to answer it. Why? Because it's a short-term thing. And then the last thing is you start putting the actions that you need to take and you list them and you implement them. The basic strategic plan is very simple, as you can see. This is the plan that almost every human being uses in their own life. Okay, I want to get an MBA, right? I'm going to start by looking at what's the first thing I'm going to do? I find out which ones are there available. I register. I start attending one course after the other. This is the basic way all human beings usually plan. We all plan. Even the least planners in our life plan. When we want to do things at work, when we want to achieve our dreams, we do plan. This is the basic. I'm going to let you do this for me so I can engage you. Take your time and quietly just try to match the basic strategic planning model steps. On the left-hand side, okay, on the left-hand side, you have the steps. These are the steps: mission and objectives, environmental scanning, strategy formulation, then implementation, then we evaluate and we control. In the blue, I want you to match the meanings. So mission and objectives is what? Matches with what? Same meaning as?
Mission and goals.
Mission and goals. This is very straightforward and easy. So after I set my mission and my objectives, I'm going to scan the environment. What does that mean? What am I going to do when I scan the environment? Which action am I taking? Scanning the environment.
Doctor is verifying
Verify.
or understand.
Or understand. It's actually understand, Rawan. Is it Rawan?
Mariam.
Mariam said understand.
أنا قلتهم اثنيناتهم.
You said both because the green went over Rawan's name. There is like a box when you talk, when you guys talk, it goes on your names. Okay, so you said both. I would say understand, right? Because what are you doing when you are scanning the environment? You are trying to find out, to know, right? When you walk into a room and you scan the room, what are you trying to do? You're getting information. It's more visual information sometimes. Sometimes I read about it, then I'm scanning, I'm getting information. When we get information, we are really trying to understand. Why is it not verify? When I'm verifying, it's usually trying to prove something that I already understood, if that makes sense. Yani, I have to do something first before I can verify it. Does that make sense? Why it's not verify?
Yes.
Yeah, but when I scan, we use the expression in English, scan the room. And when you scan a QR code, you scan it so that you can find out what is the information that is holding inside of it, صح? So when I'm scanning for information, it means I'm trying to understand the environment around me first. So first I set my mission and my objectives, then I look around me. Your SWOT analysis, guys, your SWOT analysis is an environmental scan. The SWOT is scanning the external and the internal factors. It's scanning your entire environment. And if you use Porter's 5 forces, you are checking your competitors in the market. That's scanning. That's you scanning the environment, understanding it. Third step is formulating your strategy. What is that?
How?
How? Absolutely. Strategy is always the how. I have the vision, the end. I know what is around me. Now, how am I going to get to that end? I have put the plan and I have the strategy now. What's the next step? I have to. I created the strategy. Next step is to
Execute.
Execute.
It is implementation of strategy. Fantastic. You design, you deliver, and then when you have implemented it, you've executed it,
I should verify it.
always evaluate and control. Test it. How did I succeed? Is it working? Is it not working? What went wrong? How can we improve it? Never take a strategy as a linear process. It's not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, and I'm done. It's evaluate and repeat. The reason I actually am not
PDCA, doctor.
Yes, do check, do plan, check, and you assess and you review. So at the end of the day, you have to assess, but when you assess, you need to go back and make changes. The reason I don't like the basic planning strategy is it gives people the impression that it's a linear, a straight line. It's not actually a straight line. You will evaluate and you will go back and review and improve the situation. And I'm going to finish with the scenario planning so everyone can go. Scenario planning and implementation is the second type of strategic planning. And if we are talking about innovation and future foresight and the way our world is today, which is constantly changing, and if we really want to build strategy that is, as Khalid was asking, less reactive and more proactive, I'm a big fan of scenario planning. Okay, scenario planning is good. Sometimes you don't have time for scenario planning. You need to go by the basic one. But when you are building strategy and you have time, scenario planning needs to be happening in every organization. When we do scenario planning, we need to consider specific factors. We need a time frame. So I'm going to do a scenario planning between now and let's say 2030. Okay. I give myself a time frame. I'm going to think of a scenario possibility between now and next year, between now and 2030. It's up to you. Identify the time frame you want to focus on. Describe the different possible futures, possible things that might happen in the future. How did you think AI came into the job market? 10 years ago, people were talking, 5 years ago, people were talking about neural networks and all this algorithm. There was machine learning started and then it evolved, right? So you are anticipating all the possible futures. Now we have the driverless car, right? 5 years ago, people were talking about it. The robot, the car that doesn't need a driver. The electric cars were at one point in life, they were an imagination of someone's mind, right? They were in the imagination of people. Today, this is not imagination. They're happening. Someone 5, 6 years ago in an innovation circle sat down and started imagining what the alternative futures could be within now and a certain time frame. Someone sat down, a team of future foresight experts sat down and said, in 2030 or in 2016, 2014, we're going to have, 2020, we're going to have carless drivers or electric cars everywhere. In 2030, we're going to be having taxis that are flying everywhere. I'm not saying one, but it's going to be the norm. We're going to have, look at all these avatars and robots that are talking to you at the airports and in the banks. Okay, someone sat there at some point in their lives, in their profession, in their career, and imagined this reality. And for me, I always think, watch cartoons. If you watch cartoons a lot, you will see cartoons always have things that when we are watching, we will think, oh, this will never happen in the real world. Science fiction, cartoons, right? These are people's imagination. But that is why innovation is about imagination. If someone can imagine it, someone can make it happen. So these people will come and they will imagine different kinds of futures within the time frame that you have decided. If you chose 2030, you are going to look at what do you have already today and what do you think 2030 will look like, all the different possibilities. And then for each possibility, Khalid answers your question now, you identify the risks and the benefits that are connected with it. Each possible scenario will have an assessment of the risks and the benefits. Now, implementing scenarios has a lot of benefits. Using scenario planning will help you become more creative. You come up with better strategies. Why? Because you are even anticipating the future. You are not only looking at what you have today. You are ready for what is not happening. Every possibility. It will help you explore ideas that you've probably never thought about. And it will allow you to come up with different options. And people, when you explore together, you can reach agreement about what is the most priority to focus on also. If we want to dream, we can all dream, right? And dreams can be, we can have a million dreams. How do we decide which ones to prioritize? If we engage in scenario planning with a group and we start testing them and exploring, we will be able to decide which ones are the priority. And the last thing is, go ahead.
Can I ask you, so scenario planning, is it like having plan B for what we are doing now?
Yes.
This is one question. Another question is, how can we avoid being negative, like in when we have scenario plan, oh, this can happen, this will stop us, this, so.
Yes. So when we are imagining scenarios of the future or future alternatives, usually people are trying to imagine positive things, but it's not always about positive things. For example, if I live in a country where there is a lot of earthquakes, for example, and I am an insurance company, right? And I know that every blah, 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 few years, for example, earthquakes happen. You know that insurance companies make so much money, but when an earthquake happens at a large space, impacting a large number of people, that's where they make their biggest loss. So they usually invest in different types of places so that one can counterbalance. So they distribute their risk, if you get me. They don't put their company efforts in one place. They try to distribute the risk so that the clients are all over the place. So if there's an impact in one place, the insurance company has to pay this large amount of, but that's a loss, right? So these people, these companies still manage to survive because they anticipate not only the positive, but the negative. But of course, our imagination is giving us all the different alternatives, even if it's a positive. Okay, isn't the positive going to be creating a negative also? What is the impact of everything? Is AI all positive? A driverless car, is it all positive? So what actions were, for example, in Australia, trains are they're automatic, they drive themselves, but there is always someone sitting in the cart, in the conductor's the train conductor's cart. Why?
For any emergency.
Absolutely.
To disconnect and with the network.
Absolutely. So again, we want to innovate, we want to create, we want to use technology. But when they are doing this, there are other factors that have to come in that, okay, and if, for example, something happens, what will we do? What do we have? What other mechanisms do we have when this shuts down, for example, right? And for example, when a system breaks down in a bank, and this happens a lot, by the way, when I do training with bank employees, when a system shuts down, their whole work stops. What do they have backup plans for? What do they do? How do, so again, these are all scenario planning, and they can be extremely creative, but they can also be practical, right? So once you have come up with all these big ideas, now you need to create a realistic picture. So first it starts as a dream, as an imagination, and then you have to tailor it so that it can now be something people understand. Imagine someone saying, oh, cars can fly. This was a dream, but now, oh, it's a flying taxi, right? It's something people can understand. So again, you bring it to a realistic picture of the potential future events. What can happen? What will it look like in reality if it happened? Why? Because we want more and more people to understand this idea. Because if they don't understand it, how are they going to come on board with us? So yes, Khalid, to answer your question, it's about identifying one or more possible, for example, and major environmental change against which it will test the organization's ability to respond. So something is going to happen, whether it's external or internal. Even internal, you can do that, right? Let's say you have 80% of your staff are close to retirement age, right? Close to retirement. In another 4 years' time, they're going to be retiring. This is a very simple scenario planning. We want to be more, but you can also do this. Okay, by 2030, my staff are all going to be very old and retire. What are the possible problems there? Oh, we don't have anyone to lead. So what are we going to do now in order to mitigate all these different impacts of having everyone ready for retirement in management? People do succession planning. If you are in HR, right? You do succession planning. You start planning who's going to start preparing other young people for the role, for the job. Everything is possible. Like, all these things have to be factored in. But this is a very simple scenario planning. I'm giving you something simple so you can understand the idea. Even after COVID, since COVID happened, people are constantly now expecting, like I said, in countries where earthquakes are very common, there is always a backup or scenario planning for earthquakes or natural disasters. In some places, for example, in Australia, we have a lot of floods. We don't have earthquakes, but there's always a flood. People lose their homes. They get stuck in water. People die also from these things. Fires, right? Some countries in America, some states have a lot of fires. In Australia also, we have bushfires. So because of all these natural disasters, there's a constant process of scenario planning, right? In the UAE, probably most of the scenario planning will be maybe technology, maybe water shortage, right? What will we do if there's a water shortage? Remember, if it doesn't rain, what do we do? Cloud seeding. Where did cloud seeding come from in the UAE? Very few countries seed the clouds. Sah? This came because there are periods of time where it doesn't rain. So you come up with a strategy to prevent this complete drought. It's a desert. If it doesn't rain for a long time, the impact is huge. I'm just giving you certain examples of how future foresight can be done, not only in technology, guys, not only in technology. Of course, with technology, it's the most powerful. But it's not only with technology. You can do scenario planning with everything. And this is really there's a video, by the way, scan the QR code, and this is your assignment for next time. Please watch the video. It explains it much better than me, but this is what it looks like. You identify external driving forces. War, by the way. We are now in the Middle East today, living a very volatile experience, even war, right? We are surrounded. It's not happening to you. It's not happening to, I mean, who would have thought Qatar would have been feeling this? I would have never expected it, right? And I don't want to explain to you the way people were on the streets when it happened, because this has never happened to them. The recent situation of bombing, twice now it's happened in Qatar, in Doha, right? These people don't have backup plans for it because they never expected it, right? But now we are living in a very volatile, the Middle East in general is experiencing a volatility, conflict. So again, countries need to be doing these scenario planning. Businesses have to also be doing this. If this happens, what do? I have clients overseas. I have a market overseas. How do we? So these things are always part. They are always external, by the way. The driving force is always an external thing. Identify a few external forces that you expect are going to. AI is an external force that we need to consider today. Conflict in the Middle East, 100%, because it also affects the economy and business, right? The changing dynamics on a global level. If you look at the USA now and its new trade, new business rules, new trade rules, export, import, taxes. Again, if you have a lot of dealings with these countries, tariffs, you have to factor all these in, right? Sustainability. Maybe your country is going to ban certain chemicals that you need for your perfume at some point. What will you do? Maybe you are using a chemical now, and 2 years from now, they will discover it's actually toxic. It's poisonous, and you're not allowed to use it. What will you do? I'm just giving you examples, guys, from your own ideas. I'm not just examples so you can understand. Identify a few driving forces and then create a matrix, okay? Critical uncertainties. From these driving forces, what will be the uncertainties that will take place? Things that you don't expect. And for each uncertainty, you will develop possible scenarios, real life scenarios, what it would look like in reality. And then the impact of each. And based on this, you start coming up with alternative options for solutions. I'm going to leave you with this because this is a very complex thing. Please watch the video for me. And next time, this is the scenario planning model. You identify what we call vulnerabilities, weak areas that could affect the business. We can look at both positive and negative, please. But generally, we look at vulnerabilities because we look at our threats, like Mariam was saying before, right? Of course, we want to focus on our threats when we do scenario planning. Of course, we want to look at opportunities and maximize them too. But a lot of the times, you really want to focus on the risks because that is really the biggest impact financially on the negative side. So identify the vulnerabilities that could affect your business. For each vulnerability, discuss the several different scenarios that can result from it. Take the worst and the best case. Look at all the positives and all the negative. Best case scenario, worst case scenario. Analyze the environment around the vulnerability. If the vulnerability is in natural disaster, look what is around it, what is directly impacted by it. Put a vision for your business. Of course, your vision will not take into consideration the vulnerability, right? You don't want to plan your vision based on your vulnerability. You want to be ambitious. It's okay not to, but document, write down the possible options and responses that you will take if these vulnerable or negative scenarios happen, and align the solutions with the vision before. When you align them in advance, you will never steer away from your vision and mission. When you react to solve a problem, you will never think about the vision. You will just try to solve the problem without even thinking of your original purpose. That's why we don't want to react. So you plan your vision and your business strategy without thinking about the vulnerability, but you have a document on the side that already has all the possibilities, all the options, all the things that might happen, and what actions will I take for each one of them. And then, of course, you choose the options when the case happens, when the unexpected happens, you will choose an option and you will monitor it, the results, and you will adapt and you will adjust, because your planned solution or backup plan B is not necessarily going to be super successful, right? But I have a plan B. And maybe I also have a plan C in case plan B didn't work. It will not be exactly perfect for this scenario, but it will be easier to adjust than to start from scratch, is what I'm trying to say. When COVID happened, companies that were already following the trend of the online need were able to pivot quickly. Companies that stuck to their old ways and did not expect for once that they have to go online struggled. They started from the beginning. From scratch, they were building their systems. So it took them longer to adapt. Companies that already had it, they adapted quickly. They were ready for it. Maybe it wasn't, the online platform was only to sell online. It wasn't really to do everything else online, right? But they were able to start with this small online platform and deliver it. If you had zero online presence, you couldn't do anything. But if you had a little bit of an online presence, you were able to build on it faster. So do you see what I mean? Okay, here, I think I'm going to stop and not a break. These are all examples of scenario planning and case studies. We will work on them next time. I think I need to leave you with this for now. It's a lot of information, but we're good. We're actually very good. Next week, I'm going to put you in your Zoom rooms again, and you are going to try to apply a scenario plan for me. Think of an external incident that might impact. But first, I will show you the case studies that are here. We'll resolve it together, and then you will try to do the same planning for your own business ideas. Is that good? Oh, you're still with me? Rawan, Farzal left already, Sah. That's all right. I always repeat the last part anyway. So that's a lot of work. Anyone knows the scores?
I think it's
Still
0-0.
0-0,
Okay,
yes.
good. But not good for you guys. Oh no, not
Yeah,
good.
wallah,
It's
I
good for
wasn't
you.
focusing.
It's good for you. You're not focusing with me. That's why I wanted to stop.
Yeah, I'm so
I'll
sorry,
let you go
wallah.
and watch. I'll let you go and watch. Well, good luck. But 0-0
Thank you,
is good for you
inshallah.
guys. 0-0
Yeah,
is
it
good
is
for
good
you.
for us. So we are still going to USA.
Yalla, I'm cheering for you.
Inshallah, ya Rabb.
Yalla, next week we will celebrate.
Inshallah, bidna Allah.
Great, guys. Yalla, take care. We'll have a
Yeah.
wonderful night.
If we win, I'll
Thank
make a
you so
discount in the perfume business. Yeah.
Yalla, I want a discount,
Okay,
akid.
bye. Bye.
Yalla, guys, take care. Any questions you have next time, please bring them in. I love when you ask questions, and Khalid, you always probe, and I like that. Just throw questions that come to your mind while I'm training. It's okay. Even if you have an example from your work, interrupt me. It's fine. I don't need to be the one doing all the talking all the time. Yalla, I'm gonna leave you now. No one cares. Everybody wants to watch the game. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you all. Have a
Thank you,
good
Doctor.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.